All right, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. As some of our guests and registrants are streaming in, we're just going to get the show on the road. Apologies for getting started a little bit late, but there's been a fantastic turnout this morning. So welcome everyone to the MENA ICT Forum 2013 and MENA ICT Week. As many of you know who've been involved in this event for many, many years, ever since we started as the Jordan ICT Forum in 2000 to 2002, 2004, 2006, and then coming back and being reincarnated as the MENA ICT Forum, the region's premier ICT industry event. We are now here today with some of the leading minds, some of the brightest minds and thinkers from the Middle East, North Africa region, as well as the world. And we're delighted that you are here at this very important event, which is held under the royal patronage of His Majesty King Abdullah II ibn al-Hussein, here at the King Hussein bin Talal Convention Center at the Dead Sea. So this event could not have happened without the very important support and partnerships that we have in place, especially in partnership with the Ministry of ICT in Jordan, as well as IJMA, the Union of Arab ICT Organizations, and with the very generous and kind support of USAID, as well as our numerous sponsors and partners. This year, our theme is the Arab ICT Spring and realizing its potential. We're talking about this because we're going through many changes in our world right now, and we have to see how technology has played a role in that and must continue to play a role in that. Over the next 2 days, we have a content-rich agenda covering vital aspects of current and future issues related to regional investment in technology, the overall investment climate, legislative support systems, infrastructure, communications, emerging technologies, what's coming up next, and how do we as a region keep up and in fact get ahead of what is going on in the world. So we're going to start with sort of a lay of the land, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that very shortly, but first, an important word from the organizers of MENA ICT Week and the MENA ICT Forum, the chairman of the Information Technology Association of Jordan, INTAJ. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Mohammed Tahboob.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, under the patronage of His Majesty King Abdullah II, it's my pleasure to announce the opening of the MENA ICT Forum and the MENA ICT Week 2013. On behalf of INTAJ and our partners, the Ministry of ICT of Jordan and IJMA, the Arab ICT Association, I welcome you all. Our event for this year comes in difficult and pivotal times, political, economic, and social. Yet we believe we have an Arab ICT spring. The great audience we have today, global and regional, the contribution of IJMA and multiple Arab ICT associations, and the distinguished support of the USAID program in Jordan are all clear indications that we share a common ICT vision, objectives, and direction. The MENA ICT Forum and the MENA ICT Week are our platform to share and work together. Ladies and gentlemen, ICT innovations are creating drastic changes in business models, disrupting systems, and creating tremendous job and business opportunities worldwide. The rapid acceleration of ICT is creating and formulating a new era. We at the MENA region, as an emerging market, we play a key role in this transformation process. The Arab, the Middle East, and the African ICT spending in 2013 is forecast to reach $100 billion, which will create a huge impact on job creation at the regional level, as well as social development, hopefully. Millions of jobs can be created and can be filled, and we all need to be part of this. In Jordan, we foresee an ICT transformation happening in the sector. Actually, we already started. We believe a similar transformation is due to happen in the region, a transformation driven by the new ICT trends, and will reflect on all economic aspects. The fact is, today, we need to create more jobs, create companies, and increase exports. And this is the fact that we based our strategy for the coming years upon. With around 500 ICT companies in the Jordanian ICT sector, we're working diligently in partnership with the Ministry of ICT to leap forward to the next era. We repeat the message that we conveyed in our last MENA ICT forum. Let us think beyond our individual borders. Let us work together at the MENA level. Imagine the possibilities of what we can achieve if we can work together as one economic region. Before we start the MENA ICT program, Intaj, on behalf of the entire ICT sector of Jordan, would like to express their extreme gratitude to His Majesty King Abdullah II of Jordan for his continuous support of the ICT sector during the past 12 years, and for his personal support for this major event to happen. Thank you, Your Majesty. We also would like to thank Intaj team members and Intaj event partners, as well as our valued sponsors, our lovely speakers, and our media partners for making this event happen. Let the transformation begin. Let the ICT Arab Spring start and continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Muhammad. And I now have the pleasure of welcoming our partners with Intaj in organizing the MENA ICT Forum 2013, representing IJMA, the Union of Arab ICT Organizations, which has really emerged in the past few years to link the various ICT organizations and associations across the region for the common goal of regional development in the sector. Please join me in welcoming the Secretary General of IJMA, Mr. Nizar Zakka.
Thank you, everyone. And I would like to start by thanking all the delegates, all the attendees, all the speakers, and especially Intaj for hosting us and hosting the MENA ICT Forum and hosting the MENA ICT Week. They have been an extremely good host and one of the largest MENA we ever saw, so we are really happy. And thank you, Muhammad, for all the effort you have been doing, and Abed. I would just try to make it very short, that we will be focusing, we hope to focus during the next 2 days on 3 things. And one of them is the youth and the potential of the youth. The second is the internet freedom, and we're really looking forward to have internet freedom, freedom of expression, and unconditional freedom of expression in the Arab world. And the third one is women, and hopefully a women's spring in the Arab world. We're looking forward to have some declarations and some formation of some alliances during this forum. So I hope we can all work together over the next few days in order to achieve our expectations. Finally, I would like to thank everyone who helped, and His Majesty King Abdullah II for for his auspices of this event. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Nizar. And now, continuing on the theme of partnership, because none of this would happen without a true public-private partnership. To that, we would give credit to the Ministry of Information and Communications Technology. And with that, I have the pleasure of inviting His Excellency Dr. Hatem Halawani, Jordan's Minister of Information and Communications Technology.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the opening of the MENA ICT Forum. We are delighted you can be part of this important and timely event, named Arab ICT Spring, Realizing Potential. A thought-provoking title, indeed, that is fitting of this gathering of minds. Is there such a thing as an ICT spring? Can ICT deliver on the embedded promise in that title? Can it be a real enabler of economic growth during those challenging times? We believe the answer to be a resounding yes. And this is how. The remarkable impact of the ICT on the macro and micro levels of the economy has been rapidly growing since the early 90s. This is mostly due to the ICT's fluid ecosystem made up of complex mix of technical, business, and social relations that are constantly evolving. This unique and adaptive system blurs traditional boundaries, the configuring value chains, while building on the technology's remarkable ability to scale. As a result, unconventional and innovative business models have emerged, such as cloud computing and smart electronic grids, not to mention online social networks that marked a paradigm shift of social life, ushering a new stage in the ongoing development of human awareness. A case in point is our region Arabic Spring that was greatly facilitated by ICT-enabled social networking. Ladies and gentlemen, recent studies on emerging and developing economies have found that every 10% increase in internet penetration correlates with incremental GDP increase of 1 to 2%. Other studies have indicated that raising broadband penetration in emerging markets to the levels of Western Europe could add 300 to 400 billions in GDP and create a 10 to 14 million new jobs. However, it is important to emphasize that ICT can only be effective at driving economic growth when different components of its ecosystem align to reinforce each other. Those include infrastructure, content, market competition, regulatory framework, and human resources capability. In Jordan, we realized that long ago when His Majesty King Abdullah II, an avid supporter of the ICT sector, directed private enterprise in partnership with government to develop a plan aimed at enhancing the growth of Jordan ICT industry about 13 years ago. This resulted in the REACH initiative, followed by the two government public policy statements and the National ICT Strategy of 2007-2012, leaving us with the following achievements to date. ICT sector revenue of about 2.4 billion, 15,000 direct jobs, 63 internet penetration, more than 136% mobile penetration, and cumulative foreign direct investment of IT between 2001 2011 of around 144 million. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come a long way, but more needs to be done. To that end, we just released the 2012 public policy statement that seamlessly integrates all the components of the ICT ecosystem. For example, the policy strongly focuses on issues faced by the industry, such as expanding exports, reliable supply of skilled human resources, and the relatively small size of Jordanian companies compared to foreign counterparts. Furthermore, it reaffirmed our commitment to invest in innovation, laying the groundwork for positioning Jordan as a center of excellence for the Arabic content industry. All that combined with the renewed commitment to completing our national broadband network, a refocused e-government program, the new Bridge Gap Capacity Building Initiative, draft telecom law, and of course the new national ICT strategy you will be briefed on shortly, should unleash the full potential of ICT as it relates to driving economic growth and social inclusion. In closing, I would like to take this opportunity to hail our partner at Intaj on organizing this world-class event, and we look forward to your insight on how ICT can further contribute to the prosperity of Jordan and the region as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. And to that end, part of this public-private partnership between the Ministry of ICT and the Information Technology Association of Jordan has emerged from the strategic level and thinking together about what needs to be done for the Jordanian national ICT strategy. And that has also helped us get out there in the world and across the region. So here to talk to us about the next phase and the next stage of the Jordanian national ICT strategy, I'm pleased to welcome the Chief Executive Officer of Intaj, Mr. Abid Shamlawi.
Thank you, Waji. Distinguished guests, Your Excellencies, my friends, partners, my members of the ICT Association of Jordan, welcome to the MENA ICT Forum under the patronage of His Majesty King Abdullah II. I'm pleased today to actually present to you, although I'm presenting it as the ICT Association of Jordan, but it's a work in progress with the Ministry of ICT. It reflects a deep partnership that goes back to the year 1999 of establishing the first blueprint of Jordan ICT sector, the National ICT Strategy, or back then was called the REACH Initiative. We started off by putting the REACH Initiative as the first blueprint of Jordan, and that drove us. No one had expected that we would have come this far, actually, in the industry. The second National ICT Strategy was put in 2006 and was launched in 2007, and we're at the third National ICT Strategy at the moment, which actually will take us, hopefully, until the year 2013. Again, this represents a deep partnership between the Ministry of ICT and the ICT Association of Jordan. That has been a great implementation of that strategy. As you will see in the graphs, we've come along. We started off with low numbers in mobile penetration, low numbers in revenues, low numbers of companies. 20 companies back in the year 1999 that started. Currently, we have more than 450 companies, Our revenues are currently reaching about $2.5 billion. Our mobile penetration is currently over 100%, and our internet penetration is about 63%. We're hoping that this would increase, and with the new national ICT strategy, these would actually take us into new levels. Our investment in the past few years has been fluctuating, mainly for regional circumstances, regional conditions, and actually sector development points. So in some cases, we had a fluctuation in the industry, and we're not shy to say that. Every sector goes into a transformation, and every sector goes through ups and downs. But we're proud that actually made it from $560 million annually into more than $2.5 billion currently. So future-wise, what do we do? Future-wise, the world is transforming into using ICT as a tool into other sectors. So the focus of integrating technology in other sectors is becoming more of a necessity. That's why we're focusing on the diffusion of technology into education, health, more into government, more into energy, one of the new trends that we're seeing, and more into commerce as e-commerce and other sectors like transportation and aviation. We're also looking forward to drive more of an export growth. This industry in Jordan, the future of this industry is an export-led approach to the national ICT strategy. And more, our plan is to focus on value-added employment for our citizens and for our graduates from universities. Our main pillars of the national ICT strategy, the new national ICT strategy, go on investment, export, human capital, and infrastructure, and actually going into other items that we are seeing the ICT industry shifting to more of content, supporting more content industry, and more technologies, more integration between telecom and IT, and further expansion of infrastructure to support the new emerging technologies and the new applications in the industry. Again, our new targets hopefully will actually reach new levels of new numbers and new levels. Our revenues are expected to grow, our investments are expected to flourish, and so on, our employment and our internet penetration. That's how we're hoping to push the new national ICT strategy. We need all the support from everyone, our partners in government, our partners in the sector, and our regional partners to help grow these items. And together, we succeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Abid. And yeah, so someone back there was saying, you forgot something. I said, what? And he said, you have to tell them who you are. I said, who I am is a little bit existential, and it's just too early in the morning for that. However, where are my manners? My name is Wajih Halawa. I am a director at the Brunswick Group, which is a London-based corporate relations and communications consultancy specializing in corporate and financial communications. We find increasingly as well that technology is seeping into our own work and really everybody. So that applies to all. So that's who I am. I'm not going to get more philosophical than that. However, speaking of getting philosophical, we're going to move now into our opening keynote panels. 2 brief 15 to 20-minute sessions to have a quick chat about the lay of the land. What is going on? What do we have to think about in the next 2 days? And to get you thinking and to get you participating with us and talking to us about what is happening in the various sectors affected by ICT and what we need to do about it to continue and accelerate the growth. So with that, our first keynote panel, I'm very, very pleased to invite to the stage the former Minister of ICT of Jordan, His Excellency Mr. Marwan Juma, and Duncan Mitchell, Senior Vice President of Cisco, and Catherine Rogers, Senior Vice President at IBM, as his panelists. So please welcome them to the stage.
Sabah al-khair. Good morning, everyone. Your Excellency, Excellencies, so many ex-colleagues we see here today. If we look at our watches, we're actually on time. If you go back to Amman's original time, it's 10 o'clock now. But we're behind. So Abed, where's Abed? It's not our fault, so we're going to take our 20 minutes anyways. Shakespeare said, brevity is the soul of wit. So I'll try to be brief in this session myself. Just a few numbers, though, to introduce this session. And many of you in the IT sector know these numbers. Moore's Law, where processing power doubles every 18 months. Internet capacity has increased 50% on an annual basis since its inception. You recall the days of the internet in Jordan back in the mid-90s. Our first capacity was 9.6 kilobit per second to the internet. That was considered quite a substantial, real broadband. Look at it today. Today's internet capacity globally has reached almost 80 terabits. So we're seeing amazing growth in terms of infrastructure. But what are the implications on our region? Are we able to cope? Do we have the human talent to cope with this growth? Are we leveraging technology? Because when we talk about broadband penetration is one thing, but how are we leveraging technology as a country, as a region? These are very important points. And we know the issues. A region that has to create 100 million jobs over the coming 10 years or so. Can ICT be a catalyst to creation of those jobs? And where are we heading as a region in terms of ICT use? Joining me today on this wonderful panel, two great friends of Jordan in the region, two illustrious panelists. We'll have to my left is Kathy Rogers, who's IBM's Vice President for Global Affairs, and my good friend Duncan Mitchell from Cisco. Cisco's a Senior Vice President. So I will keep my notes brief, and Catherine, please, your introduction, and then move on to Duncan. Thank you.
Thank you, Marwan, and welcome, fellow conference attendees. Salam alaikum. It's delightful for me to be back here in Jordan, a country with spectacular culture, cuisine, wonderful customs, and a country that is so rich in history and heritage, beautiful for its abundant natural wonders from Petra to Wadi Rum to the shores of Aqaba, from the discoveries and the discourse that continues daily at the numerous universities here in Jordan and the students studying science, technology, math, and engineering, to a beautiful sunset along the shores of the Dead Sea. Or this evening, I'm looking forward to relaxing, drinking a little tea, smoking a little shisha, and enjoying some of the traditional Bedouin events. So it is an honor for me to be back here in Jordan, a country that I love, and it is a privilege to be talking to you on a topic that I am personally very, very passionate about. This spirit of entrepreneurialism, inspirational innovation, the incredible advances we're seeing in technology, and the importance of sustainability and how we can leverage the power of ICT and empower and enrich and employ the next generation of talent. So let me briefly comment and highlight the impacts and implications of what I see as three converging trends affecting our planet, our cities, our government, business and industry, and indeed each and every one of us or society at large. So first, the world's population. It has grown from 3 to over 7 billion people. It is projected to be at 10 billion people by the year 2050, tripling in less than 100 years. That is unprecedented. Second, this mass urban migration. For the first time, more than half of the people on Earth live in cities. And this massive influx continues at a pace and pervasiveness that none of us could have envisioned, Current projections say 70% of the world's population, near 7 billion people, could live in cities by the year 2050, putting incredible strains and pressures on an already strained infrastructure and adding significant new demands on essential services and finite resources, be it energy, water, public safety, waste treatment, health, education, transportation, to name but a few. In our world of increasing demands, constrained capital, and competing priorities, the role of ICT will be central to the design thinking and the ability to create the city of the future. Cities that are socially vibrant, environmentally conscious, and economically viable. And lastly, we live in an increasingly connected environment. There are over 10 quintillion transistors in the world today. We now talk about data in peta and zettabytes. There are over 6 billion mobile phone subscriptions, 2.5 billion people on the internet, 1.5 billion people using social networks. The pace and rate of change is staggering. The pace of adoption and penetration, astounding. Just think, it took over 38 years for radio to reach 50 million users. Television, just 13 years. The internet, 4 years. It took Facebook less than 9 months to reach 100 million users. And in 8 years, surpassed 1 billion. From MySpace to Twitter, Foursquare, Facebook, YouTube, you name it, we are instrumented, we are connecting, we are interacting, and we are interdependent. It's not just our computers and our smartphones and our tablets. It's our cars, our appliances, our roads, our buildings, our food, our products, components, even our pets. Transistors, sensors, smart meters, transponders, the proliferation of devices, the ability to track and to trace, to time, to monitor, to measure, streaming access to real-time data, to calculate, to control, to manage, and to optimize. The power and the potential is amazing. This technological surge, this IT convergence. Let's take mobile technology. 90% of user devices are within arm's reach all the time. The new social enterprise, a constant stream of data, pictures, music, thoughts, and ideas. YouTube, now the world's second largest search engine. And through all this, we are reframing the future and our place in it. Take life in the cloud, access, demand-driven, what you need, when you need it, speed, scale, security, and the power of big data and business analytics. We're talking volume, variety, and velocity, coupled with the capability to deal more effectively with the world's uncertainty and the future of cognitive computing, from search to discovery to prediction to prevention. Information is the next new big natural resource. When harvested and harnessed, the new enabler. Every insight intelligently acted upon creates value. The power of relevant realization. from large and systematic patterns to the smallest of anomalies, giving us insight into natural systems, national infrastructures, trends, what's working, what's not, where there is risk or untapped opportunity. The challenge, the potential, the opportunity, and our obligation, finding ways to harness the available information, extracting value from this data, providing insight and enabling actions, capitalizing on the scalable benefits. This new capacity, these new and now essential capabilities, comprehensive technical coverage, a complex knowledge network, an optimized system of systems, the exciting new world of ICT, now enabling government officials, city service leaders, business owners and merchants, entrepreneurs, and consumers to leverage information and make better decisions, to anticipate problems and resolve them more proactively, to coordinate resources and operate more effectively, to reduce waste and eliminate inefficiencies, to reduce risk and increase resiliency, to improve productivity and drive crucial cost savings, and to enrich the consumer's personal experience, all helping to create a more enjoyable, a more prosperous, and a sustainable future for us all, environmentally, socially, and economically, on the backbone of technology and the skills that go with it. We can build and be a smarter planet. And with that, I will turn it back to Marwan and Duncan. Shukran.
Thank you, Catherine. I think it's a great start to our event, setting the tone and looking at the big picture, I think. Some staggering numbers and definitely food for thought. Duncan, for your thoughts now, and then we'll start the discussion.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Ministers, Ambassador, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm genuinely delighted and excited to be back in Jordan. I've lived and worked in the region for the last 5 years, looking after 84 countries, and one of the countries I look forward to returning to most is Jordan. So it's a real pleasure for me to be here, and thank you for the time. I would say to you that the world is changing at a pace that I suspect many of us have never experienced before. We all have a part to play in this period of rapid change and growth. And we need to ensure that the diversification of our economies remains very high up on the long-term strategic agenda of the MENA region. We also need to ensure that the increased investment and spending initiatives are focused in the right areas. And in my opinion, those are around supporting safety and security, healthcare, education, and the build-out of critical national infrastructure. In fact, it's estimated that we need to spend something in the region of $100 billion per year in the region just to build out the infrastructure that will support the existing rates of growth and to boost economic competitiveness within the region. However, I'm about to say something that you may not expect to hear from somebody representing one of the most important IT companies in the world. I don't think it's just about the infrastructure. I think it's much more about talent, about human capital, and the skills that will be required to gain benefit from the infrastructure that is invested in and deployed. And this means that the challenges are far broader than simply deploying that infrastructure. At the very least, they include the education systems that prepare citizens to have the real-world skills to actually have the real world jobs around planning, preparing, deploying, maintaining, running those networks upon which we will build the systems that do provide safety and security, healthcare, and education. In doing so, we support not only the nation but the region with safe, secure, healthy, well-educated citizens who are capable of competing on a global stage and being highly productive. In turn, those citizens will provide the ability to build the foundation stones of improved standards of living. And I think those foundation stones are increased economic growth, increased economic productivity, but also social inclusion. It's estimated that we would need to see a 2% productivity increase per annum in the economy just to maintain the current standards of living, let alone to increase them, which I'm sure we would all be very keen indeed to do. At Cisco, we believe that broadband is at the very heart of the foundation stones of critical national infrastructure. In fact, it's been proven that technology adoption drives GDP growth. This in turn drives the standard of living, as we know, and in fact, a 5% consistent 5% productivity increase and GDP growth increase doubles the standard of living of a nation and of a region in around 14 years. Cisco is committed to enabling citizens, organizations, and of course nations to embrace that potent combination of talent and technology. And we're equally committed to supporting and assisting the build-out of collaborative and sustainable communities which are able to accelerate the impact of ICT as an industry across the MENA region. We have very many successful Cisco public-private partnerships. These span across the whole of the region, and they work towards the causes that I've just talked about. We strive growth by encouraging entrepreneurial spirit, innovation, and those new world skills for the new world jobs that I think we all need to exist. These include, and I'm proud to say, within Jordan itself, an engagement between Cisco and the government of Jordan for the Jordan Healthcare Initiative, the JHI. And today, we're launching an additional health presence clinic. We're launching a mobile health project, and we're launching a clinical collaboration project. This project facilitates access to quality healthcare services, which facilitates services throughout the whole of the nation, provoking increased thought leadership in ICT-enabled healthcare, but really getting us into the ability to give care at a distance, which is of very high quality indeed. In addition, we've already made commitments to invest multi-million-dollar venture funds into the development of the small and medium and businesses within Jordan. And of course, we have already been operating for a number of years now the Cisco networking academies within not only Jordan, but also the region. In fact, way back in 1997, when we launched the networking academies, we built a program that's a not-for-profit program that is now sometimes described as the world's largest classroom. In fact, we now have approximately 1 million students currently participating in this scheme, with 4 million graduates to date. There are 10,000 academies across 165 countries, and there are something like 1 million examinations sat each and every month, where people actually get their accreditation for these new world jobs, which I think is incredibly important, because what we're trying to do is ensure that young people have the latest and greatest skills to build very much a bright future for themselves, for their nations, and for their regions. So I hope you'll agree that it's time to look forward. It's time to embrace this region's aspirational young and dynamic population, and to really focus on supporting them in harnessing the power of ICT as they actually go and build out better, stronger economies, harnessing the power of the infrastructure that we'll build out over the midterm. When partnered together, this combination of talent and technology drives increased productivity and competitiveness, as we mentioned earlier. We will roll out life-changing networks that will link people, processes, data, and things anywhere, across any device, and I genuinely think that these will improve the lives of millions of people. Believe it or not, we're in a position right now where we believe that 99% of all the physical things in the world are not yet connected to the internet. And I'd like to ask you to think about the process and the progress that's been made over the last 2 decades by managing to connect just 1% of the physical things in the world to the internet. And then to reflect for just one moment about what progress could be made in the future if we could go from 1% of these devices connected to maybe 50%. Maybe we don't get to 100%, but what could we do if we managed to get to just 50%? There is a school of thought that says that food and water security will become 2 of the most important issues on the planet in times to come. And we think that the Internet of Everything will have a significant role to play in addressing these issues. Can you imagine systems that are designed to route precious water resources to the right place at the right time with minimal loss in transmission leakage to ensure that we deliver exactly the right quantity of water to the right crops to ensure that we actually accelerate and support maximum crop production? In my opinion, if we take the thought about building out infrastructure and closely couple it with building out skills, we can actually thrive, not just survive in an environment of high change. We've invested in this region for something like the last 15 years, and I'm pleased to tell you that we continue to invest in infrastructure and human capital development in this region for the future for a very long time. Thank you very much indeed. Shukran.
I think we have about 5 minutes for a brief Q&A, and you have both been very politically correct so far. We need to provoke you a little bit. And all the numbers we've heard so far in terms of what's happening with technology, the growth, and where it's heading. And in all honesty, do you think our region can cope with what's happening? Because unfortunately, we have been busy with other issues the past few years in our part of the world, while the world has been moving rapidly and adopting technology and harnessing technology. Do you think our region can cope, or is the gap widening, or can we leapfrog? What are your thoughts, Catherine, Duncan, on this question?
I absolutely think the region can cope. The amount of energy, the entrepreneurial spirit, I think you mentioned the mobile adoption rate, the level of education. We have a huge opportunity in this new globally connected marketplace to start to match and map that available talent with many of the needs that exist today. Clearly, I think there's been frustration because of high unemployment, but it certainly is not for the lack of training or the desire to do so. So companies like IBM, like Cisco in the world, I think have an incredible opportunity to start to match available talent and begin to continue to cultivate that talent for the needs that we need. Business analytics as another example, how you are really leveraging the technology that's available and match those resources, that capability, that desire with current need, pacing out with current growth.
Duncan?
I don't think you have a choice. I think that this region has a fantastic opportunity. You have some extraordinarily talented people. You have the ability to roll out next generation infrastructure to leapfrog some of the developed countries. And I'd like to read just a couple of stats, if I may. We believe that the future traffic and the future success will be based around video. And I can tell you that right now, video exceeds half of the Middle East and Africa's consumer internet traffic today. In our own organization, I can tell you that on our internal network, 93% of all the traffic on our network is video. That's used for training purposes, it's used for meeting purposes, it's used for collaboration and sparking ideas between people from all over the world. I think you have a fantastic opportunity to build on that video capability to both import and export talent to import and export ideas to drive economic growth and connections within the region and globally. You mentioned also mobility, which I just want to pull another stat on, which I think is really important. And these statistics, by the way, I will make available to you. They come from the Cisco Visual Networking Index, which is an annual survey that we take, and these statistics are less than a month old. In the Middle East and Africa, mobile data traffic grew 36-fold from 2011, or is predicted to grow 36-fold from 2011 to 2016, with a compound annual growth rate of more than 100%. So when you think about video and you combine that with mobility, I think that we have a fantastic opportunity in the region to harness the young, aspirational, talented professionals that we have to drive success. But I think it does rely on not just infrastructure, but really focusing on making sure that our young people have not only classical education, but are trained in the skills that will be required for business and the skills that will be required to harness the power of ICT.
You mentioned the $100 billion investment in infrastructure. I think it'd be nice to see similar figures in education as well, in real education in our part of the world. I think that's what we really need. But we're living a third inflection point. The first one was, I think, the PC, and then we had the internet. We're living the third one as we speak, being connected every time, everywhere, and with mobility, and that creates a huge opportunity for the youth of our region. Catherine, what do you think about that?
Absolutely. You know, if you look at the youth, the interest, and the energy level, it is really an untapped human capital that can be even further leveraged. I'd like to make one comment, particularly as a woman in business. We continue to be substantially underrepresented in the world. And part of that is because we need to work harder to get women, I have 2 daughters, and get the women into the science, engineering, math, technology programs. Women do bring an incredible talent, skill these days that I think is so relevant in this world because of the ability to communicate, to collaborate, and that social dimension. But I do think that much more work needs to be done to mentor, to sponsor, to encourage, and bring this untapped human capital to its full potential, not only academically, but in the world at large.
Yeah, definitely. Duncan, and hearing John many times talk about video, and he's been right since day one, saying video will dictate the game. And the percentage, we heard 90% of your network is basically video, and I think numbers will be even higher. One point, Abed, you mentioned penetration to hit 85% broadband. I think that you will hit that number, I think, this year. I think that 100% penetration, you will go way beyond that by that time. Everything will shift towards IP, I think, clearly. But and this, a lot of my telco friends are here, a lot of the CEOs of the telcos are here. You have Jean-Thomas and Ahmed from the big players here in Jordan. But what's happening, though, you talk about investment in networks, which means players need to be profitable to invest, and we have that margin to invest. And then you have the huge pressure of video on the networks,
Yes.
where nowadays a lot of your revenue that used to come from voice is no longer there, and you have to create new business models, coupled with the fact that governments are pressuring players to make more money out of them. So they're getting squeezed from this way and that way and all over the place. It's very important that these players remain healthy, I think, and able to grow and to be able to invest and to meet these demands. Do you think the golden era of telcos is gone? Can they reinvent themselves basically to cope with technological changes? What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I think they can. I think they have to. I think it's important not only for them and their shareholders, but it's also critical to nations, to the region, and to citizens within the region. I go back to the point that was raised about mobility. I love traveling around this region because I see people carrying 3 or 5 mobile devices. You know, we talk about the penetration of mobility. When was the last time you saw somebody carry only one phone? It's multiple phones. Now it's multiple phones plus maybe a tablet plus maybe a PC. Yeah. And I think we're now in a world that says that all of those devices, and by the way, we term that bring your own device because all of our employees and most of my customers' employees are saying, I've bought this really neat device. It's much better than the one you issued me. So I am going to bring it to work and I am going to issue it. I'm going to use it. So you need to find a way of allowing me onto your network in a secure and controlled fashion so that I can work with those devices. But I think what we're seeing is they want to have that capability to move around with video and with a lot of data the whole time. That's clearly a challenge for the telcos, whose average revenue per user is quite frequently dropping right now, whilst the demands of the user, the volume of traffic for video compared to voice is going through the roof. And I think we'll start to see people moving away from simply macro cell or traditional cellular technology to Wi-Fi, to small cell technology, to all sorts of ways that people can actually very quickly, through a local radio mechanism, go to a local device that then jumps onto an IP backbone to backhaul that volume of data at high speed. That's an area that we're very lucky because we know a lot about, and many of the mobile operators are coming to Cisco right now to say, help me. I can't work out how to take all of this traffic at a sensible price, but there is a way.
Parting notes, I will ask about your plans in the region, not in terms of what you intend to roll out, or not in terms of about your customers, but in terms of supporting the youth of the region, in terms of enabling and empowering the youth. Do you have any plans for the region? What are you looking at, both IBM and Cisco, in terms of supporting the region and actually leveraging what we have in human talent?
The region to us continues to be very important, and IBM has continued to invest and increase our footprint, both on the side of what we're doing in developing the human capital, training and developing the new future leaders in today's complex and interconnected market. We see the MENA region as exciting, as a growth opportunity. We're happy to be here. We've been out in the area for many years and look forward to a very bright and mutually prosperous future.
Thank you, Catherine.
I'm going to give you half a dozen quick points. Number one, we've been heavily invested in the region for a decade and a half, and we continue to see that as a good long-term investment and one that's very important. It's an important enough investment for me to have made the region my home for the last 5 years, and I'm really enjoying living here. It would take a lot to pull me out of this region right now. I think, thirdly, we touched on the Networking Academy program. We have something like 250 academies within the region, training something like 140,000 students to give them these real-world skills for the jobs of tomorrow. And we have something like 600 employees of our own and around 2,000 employees in a fabulous ecosystem of partners that work with us, all of whom are focused on supporting governments, telcos, organizations, individual consumers to harness this power to drive a better standard of living.
Thank you, Duncan. I think it's very important, not only investing in infrastructure, but investing in people is equally important. So great parting notes, and thank you for the wonderful panel. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Marwan, Catherine, Duncan, thank you very much. And without further ado, let's keep this show on the road. So we've talked about infrastructure and the building blocks of technology, and now we want to talk about the layer above that and the opportunities and challenges of IT and online. And this next panel is really a bunch of very interesting people. Some you will know very well, and it's moderated by His Excellency, Mr. Karim Qawad. Now, for those of you who don't know, Karim is the former ambassador of the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan to the United States of America. He's also one of the co-founders of Intaj and its first chairman. So, welcome aboard. We also have with us Ray Rivera. He's a White House presidential appointee and co-founder of Democracy.com, as well as Keith Tier, co-founder of TechCrunch, and Dr. Osama Fayyad, executive chairman of Oasis